Considering the change in the very essence of this end, we will make suitable decisions based on the threats that will be posed to us.
This from Mario Naufal. Biden approves $275 million weapons package for Ukraine after missile strikes and nuclear doctrine shift. The Biden administration is set to announce a $275 million weapons package for Ukraine, including HIMARS systems, drones, and Javelin missiles. The aid will be drawn from U.S. stockpiles, expediting delivery to Ukrainian forces. The U.S. still has $6.9 billion in drawdown authority funds for Ukraine. This comes as Biden recently approved Ukraine's use of long-range missiles against Russia, leading to Ukraine firing ATACMS into Russian territory. Meanwhile, Russia has updated its nuclear doctrine, signaling a more aggressive stance amid the ongoing conflict, and that is from Fox. Isabel, let me start with you on this one.
So comforting.
I would prefer not to go into World War III. I would prefer a man with dementia not lead us there, and a woman who basically cooed him in these final months of their administration. And yet they seem to be doing everything possible to drive us there. Is that alarmist, or am I just nuts?
No, I don't think that's alarmist at all. And actually, the shocking lack of coverage of this story this week from the media makes me very, very uneasy, because there is nothing stable or comforting about the people currently running our country for the next 60 plus days. That's a long time. And I think people have already thought in their mind we've moved on to a Trump presidency, but that's not coming until January 20th. There's a whole lot of damage that could happen between now and November and the end of January. But what really bothered me more than anything else about this story this week, besides the lack of media coverage and the complete cover-up and interference that the media is running for the Biden administration, after Putin had then said, okay, we're now going to update our nuclear policy to make it okay for us to retaliate against you. The day after that, President Biden reversed his own policy, approving the use of anti-personnel landmines sent from the United States to Ukraine to escalate the conflict even more. Now, I then learned America is one of the only countries of the major developed countries in the world that is not a signatory to the Ottawa Treaty from 1997, which dignifies landmines as a war crime. But most of NATO countries and most of the developed world would consider this literally a war crime. And yet you'll never hear about that type of escalation in the media. And this is all happening mere days before Donald Trump was scheduled to sit down with Putin to try to negotiate some sort of peace agreement. So this administration is making it abundantly clear they're going to do everything they can to likely personally benefit and financially profit from the military-industrial complex, because they know that we're probably going to usher in an era of peace come Donald Trump's next term.
Right. And the crazy part here is, like, does anyone honestly think, oh, we gave Ukraine a couple more long-range missiles or this weapon or that weapon, is suddenly the war going to end? I don't think there's one person on earth who honestly believes that. And check this, if you don't think I'm right about that, check out this video. This is Vladimir Putin back in September.
There is certainly an attempt to substitute the concept, because it is not about granting permission or prohibiting the Kiev regime from striking across the entire territory. He is already striking utilizing drones and other means in multiple ways. But when it comes to employing long-range precision weapons of Western production, that is a completely different story. The fact is, as I have already mentioned, and any experts will confirm, both here and in the West, the Ukrainian army is unable to strike with modern long-range precision systems of Western production. It cannot do this. This is only possible with the use of additional and comprehensive intelligence data from systems. Second point, and very important, perhaps key, is that flight missions for these missile systems can essentially be entered only by military personnel from NATO countries. Ukrainian military personnel cannot do this. And therefore, it is not about allowing the Ukrainian regime to likely strike Russia with this weapon or not allowing it. It is ultimately about making a decision on whether NATO countries are directly involved in the military conflict or not. Considering the change in the very essence of this end, we will make suitable decisions based on the threats that will be posed to us.
All right, so 2 points there. One, just technical. That is obviously AI dubbed, so that's not Putin actually speaking, but it's an AI translation. But the broader point, or the more important point, Winston, is he's basically saying if you guys, because it's not Ukraine in essence, if NATO starts shooting these long-range rockets into our country, we are going to behave a little bit differently, and that's exactly what we're doing. I'm not sitting here defending Putin or anything he's done, but at some point, poking the bear who has nukes just seems crazy. That's been my position on this thing for 2+ years.